If there is one word to describe the 1990s, it's nostalgia. From food, movies, TV shows, technology, and everything in between. The 1990s was a remarkable decade that saw huge transformations, contributions, and challenges that still impact us today. On this episode, we will take a look at just some of the popular things that existed in the 1990s, which have disappeared since the year 2000, and why they were so important to many of us. If there was one thing that is nostalgic about the 1990s, it is definitely Blockbuster Video. Before the days of Netflix and streaming platforms, many of us will remember venturing to our local Blockbuster, particularly on Friday nights, to see if there were any copies left of the newest released movie. From the sound of movies playing in the background to the blue carpet, and yes, even that smell. This one definitely brings back memories for many. With the disappointment of not seeing any copies left of your movie choice, to that feeling when asking the Blockbuster employee to check the Dropbox and them actually finding a copy. This for many represented a whole different era that will never come again. At its height, Blockbuster reached 9,000 stores worldwide, including places like Australia, Japan, and even Brazil. However, it was questionable business decisions, in particular surrounding DVDs, that opened the door for Blockbuster's downfall. While the chain continued on in the early 2000s, it continued to see a decline in sales impacted by retailers such as Walmart, and not even Blockbuster's DVD mail service could save them. In the year 2014, with the growth of Netflix DVD mail service and streaming services, Blockbuster closed all of its corporate-owned stores. As of today, there is one remaining independently owned Blockbuster left in Bend, Oregon. If you connected to the internet in the 1990s, then there is a very good chance you did so using America Online. Before the days of broadband internet connecting households to the internet, it was America Online leading the way with dial-up internet. Between 1993 and 2006, it is estimated AOL sent out more than 1 billion floppy disks and CDs with free software, and it paid off as in 1997, about half of all homes in the United States with internet access had it through AOL. Many of us will remember the classic sounds of using AOL, from connecting using dial-up to the sounds we encountered upon logging in.
Welcome. You've got mail. Goodbye.
However, with improving technology and the popularity of broadband internet in the early 2000s saw the eventual decline of AOL. While many were no longer using AOL to connect to the internet, millions continued to use America Online Instant Messenger, commonly referred to as AIM, for many more years. However, that too would see a decline in popularity following the rise of text messaging and Gmail. And with Verizon eventually acquiring AOL, it saw the company discontinuing the AM service in 2017. If you ventured into a McDonald's in the 1990s and were craving more food and drink than a typical McDonald's meal offered, you likely opted to supersize your meal. Originally introduced back in 1987 as a limited time option, it became a staple on the McDonald's menu starting in 1992. The Super-Size option, which consisted of a 42-ounce drink, which equaled a 410-calorie soda, as well as a 7-ounce, 610-calorie fries option, meant would hit 1,000 calories before even counting the burger. With the focus on healthier options in the early 2000s and the release of the debated documentary Super-Size Me, we saw an end to the classic upsize option. Just 6 weeks after Super-Size Me was released in theaters, McDonald's discontinued the Super-Size options, and it took its place in the fast food history books. In the 1990s, before the days of Netflix and other streaming platforms, VHS cassette tapes served as the primary source of home entertainment, and VHS players were found in the majority of households. Not only could you watch your favorite movie, but you also had the ability to set your VCR to record your favorite TV shows in case you missed them. And even some camcorders used VHS cassette tapes, which allowed you to film and play back anything from family vacations to graduations without the need for additional equipment. In 1998, Titanic became the first movie released on VHS that was actually released on 2 cassette tapes due to length. DVDs took over as the predominant form of home entertainment in the early 2000s. And with the decline of VHS in subsequent years, we saw the last Hollywood-produced movie released on cassette tape in the year 2006. Now, if you grew up in the late 1990s and early 2000s, there is a chance that you came home from school, turned on MTV and watched TRL. First introduced in 1997 as MTV Live, it became Total Request Live in 1998 and stayed on the air for 10 years. The one-hour show, originally hosted by Carson Daly, which played the 10 most requested music videos of the day, as voted by viewers via phone or online, quickly grew in popularity and became one of MTV's flagship programs. Aside from seeing the most popular music videos of the day, pop stars, boy bands, and celebrities, it was actually a news source for many young viewers on major world events taking place. While Carson Daly left in 2003, the show continued on for several more years, however, with a changing landscape including the emergence of social media platforms. The show was canceled in 2008. Before MP3 players, iPods, and cell phones, one of the most popular ways to listen to music on the go definitely was the portable CD player. Sony's version of the portable CD player, called the Discman, exploded in popularity in the 1990s, and with the trend moving away from cassette tapes and the Walkman, it was something teenagers and young adults during the time were not afraid to show off. A common item found anywhere from college campuses to the beach. This was the item to have for music on the go. However, in the early 2000s, with the emergence of technology including MP3 players, and specifically the iPod, the portable CD player could not compete and would eventually take its place in history. If you were around in the 1990s, you might remember that home was the place to be on Friday nights with ABC's Friday Night Television line, TGIF. Unlike today, where no TV network considers Friday nights primetime viewing, back in the 1990s, it was a different story as the TGIF lineup dominated the airwaves, introducing us to popular shows like Full House, Family Matters, Perfect Strangers, Step by Step, and Boy Meets World. However, as the 1990s neared an end, ratings began to slide as Fridays became more common with going out. And with aging shows and lack of new content, the original run of TGIF came to an end in the year 2000. In the 1990s, if you were in a search of a book, be it for school or just casual reading, you would visit one of the thousands of bookstores across the country. Before websites like Amazon and eBay dominated the landscape, retail book chains like Borders, Walden Books, B. Dalton, and Crown Books were found in almost every major shopping mall and city, welcoming tens of thousands of customers across the country each day. However, with the popularity of the internet and the convenience of buying straight from the comfort of your home, the early to mid-2000s proved too much for most of these retailers, many of whom would declare bankruptcy by the mid-2000s. Now, while most retail book chains are long gone, one of the oldest, Barnes & Noble, still exists today, welcoming those who still prefer to buy their next book in person. In the 1990s, before cell phones became a staple of society, public payphones were the go-to method when trying to reach someone while on the go. At their peak in the mid-1990s, there were over 2.5 million payphones spread across the United States, from shopping malls, restaurants, train stations, amusement parks, and everywhere in between. Payphones became a lifeline to many. While prices varied over the years, typically a caller could make a local call for just 25 cents, with long-distance calls for an additional charge. However, with the increased popularity of cell phones in the early 2000s, and with payphones no longer turning a profit, the major phone companies began removing them from across the country in the mid-2000s. Today, it is estimated only a few thousand payphones remain scattered across the country. So payphones, like many other commonly used items from the 1990s, took its place in history. In the 1990s, before the days of Google Maps and car navigation, if you were traveling to an unfamiliar destination, you were likely to use paper maps, a road atlas, or a Thomas guide to find your way. These items could be found in the back seats of millions of vehicles across the country throughout the 1990s, however, with the advancement of technology, including online maps and car navigation features, these maps and guides would decline in popularity and take its place in history in the early 2000s. Now, these were just some of the most commonly used items, things, and places in the 1990s we said farewell to since the year 2000. But they definitely were not the only ones. Let us know in the comment section below what you miss most from the 1990s, and it actually may be included in the next chapter of this series. Make sure to click on the thumbs up and subscribe button below for future content on this channel. And thanks for watching.